to buy a collectible automobile, which there are not too many of, which could have some upside potential long term if inflation comes along, as I expect it will have to later on this year. And I looked at many different cars. I finally settled on a 1986 Porsche 930 Whaletail that's in, I won't say concourse condition, but it just about looks like it came off the showroom floor. The paint on it is straighten your tie in it, if anybody knows what a tie is anymore. And I didn't pay that much for it. I mean, it was like $18,000. And in a good economy, that kind of a car, earlier this year was fetching $25,000 to $30,000. And there are some real bargains out there in collectible cars. Another one to look at might be something like a Triumph TR6, some of the early Astons, XKEs. The reason that I find cars so interesting is because they do have some utility value, and you don't feel bad about driving a beater the rest of the time if every, month or so you take a really nice car out for a spin to keep the seals, wet and so forth. But it's really a just kind of a nice thing to do while we wait for automakers to give us meaningful statistics upon which we can make purchase decisions.
So why is that a hedge if the economy is going to just go bust totally and the dollar down and all of the rest of it, how does anything keep that much value, such as a car? How can it keep or increase in value to make it a hedge?
Yeah. There's well, I've done it before. I bought a 1973 Porsche in about 1978, 79, someplace in there. And when we went through that big bout of inflation in the early 80s, I was able to drive the car for like 6 years. And when I sold it in 89, gosh, I guess it was longer than that, drove it for probably 10 years, I made money on the car. And so that's really how it works out. I mean, when I bought the car, I think I paid $5,000 for it. When I traded it in on a new Nissan, I got like $7,500 trade-in. And the reason that it worked out that way was that the price of new Porsches coming in from Germany had gone up so much that it bolstered the price of the used car. And because there were very few of them around, and because inflation operated on them rather nicely, the value of the car went up, and it maintained more purchasing power than did my bank account in the same period.
So if I have this right, when the price of a loaf of bread is around $15, then it's the time to sell the car, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the problem, is what are you going to get value for value? Have you seen the movie Sahara?
No.
Oh, you've got to rent the movie Sahara, for heaven's sakes. Matthew McConaughey and his sidekick. Great movie.
Is it old?
No. It's like a year or two old.
Oh, no.
Based on a Clive Cussler novel. Don't tell me you don't know who Clive Cussler is.
Oh, one of my favorites until he got a little nutsy, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. And Clive Cussler always features a collectible car in all of his novels. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Okay, well, in Sahara, there's a collectible car that is featured prominently that's dug out of a hillside in the middle of the desert someplace. And it's maybe not as good an inflation hedge as a bar of gold or a bar of silver. But on the other hand, the role of money is going to be changing here. And I like to have things that have value other than monetary value. I've got on my wall, taped up next to my clock, $100 billion. It's a special agro check issued in 2008 by the government of Zimbabwe, And this particular $100 billion note, which had, from what I understand, less than about $5 worth of actual purchasing power, expired at the end of the year. I mean, their money is depreciating so fast that the money has almost become pointless. Not quite, because you'll starve without it, but it's almost become pointless. And so when I look at cars, or I bought a brand new tractor about 2 years ago. It's got 150 hours is all on it. Not because I wouldn't like to be out tractoring. I love tractoring. But if you buy something, picture how it would operate or why you would buy it if there was no dollar sign attached to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, it's like, okay, if I could drive any automobile in the world, and I guess I almost could, if I could drive any automobile in the world, what would it be? What's the right combination of style, performance, acceleration, safety? I now own that car. And whether or not that's a responsible decision, I guess sort of depends on where you're coming from. But I expect that it will hold its value relative to other automobiles and may do better than most. After all, there's a history of 10-year-old Porsches holding a than 10-year-old Chryslers, just for example.
Okay, for listeners, that's your call waiting. That's why they're missing parts of your words.
They'll have to call me back. I don't care. I'd much rather talk to you.
That's lovely.
Well, and there's a lot of other things that I've bought simply not because I'm trying to spend money like a drunken sailor, but I realize that the things that people buy are seldom measured in terms of practicality first. And I'm trying to get myself out of the media, media hysteria, media-induced hypnosis, which has people making purchases that they don't really need to make. People buy clothes that go out of style. I'm just jeans and a work shirt kind of guy. That's the joy of consulting via the internet. I can put on a nice looking shirt and sit in front of a webcam if I need to, but I'm much more comfortable in an old plaid shirt and a pair of jeans and work boots. And that's to me just a lot more real than people buying clothes that they can wear for 6 months, if that, and then they're out of style.
Yeah, the whole thing about being out of style. I mean, that's just another. It's a ridiculous thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem we've got as an economy. We've got this world that is built on the consumption model. I don't expect to ever buy another automobile. I've got what I've always wanted. I'm going to stick with it. That's it. I may have to put a new engine in it someday. I may have to buy tires, air filter, the usual junk. But I'm 60 years old, and this one is probably the one I'll go to the grave in. So people don't generally look at automobiles that way. To me, an automobile is a statement. So is wearing jeans and a cowboy hat, because the cowboy hat is practical. The jeans are practical. I've worn suits that have fallen apart in 6 months of just regular road warrior, live on an airplane kind of life, and I got sick of it. You had to have the right computer, you had to have the right luggage, you had to drive the right kind of rental car, you had to make the right kind of impression, wear the right kind of watch, and unfortunately, what we're seeing is, and Ben Bernanke touched on it. He said words to the effect, we won't really see the bottom until we see an improvement in consumer confidence. But the key part of consumer confidence is con. Because in order for consumer confidence to return, we as a country need to have a vision going forward that's believable and attainable. And I don't hear the administration saying, We're going to reinvent America as a sustainable country. We're going to shoot for an 85% recycle rate. We're going to go for clothes that are designed for comfort, style, as well as durability and small carbon footprint, and made in America instead of a sweatshop someplace. We're going to buy shoes that are of the highest quality, longest life, and they will be made in America instead of a sweatshop someplace. We're going to try to make our own television again. I mean, all those kind of things. I don't hear that new vision being articulated yet. I'm anxious for it, because when we start hearing the new vision, when we start hearing about responsible capitalism, domestic capitalism, when we talk about becoming a country of small businesses and start levying realistic taxes on cheap foreign-made goods, so that a company does not have an incentive to send yet more jobs overseas. When somebody can articulate that vision from a position of meaning and authority, then it's time to start thinking about buying stocks in those companies which can go in that direction.
I don't think we're going to hear that until a little bit more upchucking happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's so greatly put there, George.
It's beautiful.
With that, we have to take another break.
Oh, sure,
Run for president.
I should.
Beyond the Ordinary with the Beyond the Ordinary George Ewer. We'll be back.
Okay, we're back with George Ewer. Before we get into other things, George, you had something posted on your Urban Survival website from Cliff, that it's a message he sent out about honey?
Yeah, apparently there is something in the linguistics that has been developing over the last week or so, and it's relatively high in what are called temporal immediacy values. In other words, this is something we should see emerge in the headlines sometime between 2 minutes from now and maybe 2 months from now. And the issue is Chinese honey. And there is some language in Half Past Human, the asymmetric language translation analysis, or translation. Anyway, Alta reports. And it suggests that honey, what's called honey from China, is really a mixture of high fructose corn syrup and other ingredients. Now, we all know how melamine and other ingredients have gotten into Chinese product in the past. We know there have been issues with seafood. We know there have been issues with all